We have tech this morning, and we have Ositadima Bon Elebe, Marketing and Strategic Partnership Lead for Transfer Exo, one of the driving forces in the Transfer Exo team, championing the new narrative in Nigeria for the cryptocurrency industry. New narrative cryptocurrency. You're welcome. It's great to have you.
Thank
now,
you so much.
Cryptocurrency is something that, first of all, what's the government's stance on cryptocurrency at the moment?
Okay, yeah, so we understand that basically like the central bank does not recognize it properly as a legal tender at the moment, but we've come to see even towards the eve of the departure of the last administration to even adopt it to the extent of putting out a tax on blockchain or even digital assets. So we're beginning to see a bit of relaxation or adjustment to strong stance of the government.
Did the central bank from the inception of crypto, was it accepted to a particular point and then it was cut down, or was it like it was still on the fringes? Was it legally acceptable at any point in time?
Yes, at the inception.
At inception,
yes,
it was legally acceptable, right?
Exactly.
Now, how many countries, do you have any data of how many countries maybe in Africa, around the world, that legally accepted, that their central banks or whatever, or their financial system accepts cryptocurrency as a mode of, transactions?
Well, I don't have such numbers of my head,
okay.
but we understand that cryptocurrency is gaining a lot of adoption, especially here in Africa.
Which are the major countries that you know, or the major around the world and even in Africa that adopt it?
For example, Syria alone.
Okay.
The government decided that they are going to become the #1 smart city or smart nation in the world, and cryptocurrency is a big adoption over there. And in Nigeria, which happens to be the second largest crypto market in the world.
Okay.
So you see that even in the lower demographics, or let me not say lower demography, amongst young people most especially, between June last year to July this year, there's been 9% increase in crypto exchange transactions. That's over $50 billion. So there's wide adoption.
So how do we do it now? It will be P2P is allowed?
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
Since it is not legally allowed for transactions, how is it so that we still have this number as the second largest or the largest market and all of that? How is it being traded? Is it illegal? How do you trade it now, since the central bank doesn't allow it? Okay,
so exactly with the central bank is that it's just like putting out a disclaimer to say, okay, this happens, but we are not liable, or we don't necessarily endorse it.
Okay.
But young people and individuals are going on, like you mentioned, peer-to-peer exchange. It's very, very rampant, and it's going, like, with the numbers you've seen, you will realize that there's a wide adoption and people are really embracing the whole concept.
All right, okay, so now, a lot of people will tell you that, look, at the beginning of the crypto, there was a boom, sort of, and a lot of people joined it, and then after that boom, there's been some kind of a bearish movement, and some people lost money and all of that, especially with some firms. We know of some firms that, maybe with managing funds for customers and all of that happened. So this has reduced the faith of people in digital assets and blockchain and cryptocurrency. What's the security people have now, or maybe with your firm? What security do they have? How can they be sure that their funds or whatever they put into their digital assets are secure? Especially when the central bank doesn't back it.
So exactly, we understand the fear. We understand how people are very much concerned about their funds, and so a lot of security measures have been put in place. Like, for example, in my company, we make use of the Azure security services. If you look out for Azure, it's global. Like, over 80% of Fortune 500 companies in the world are on that platform, and whatever security features they have, it's embedded and implemented on our platform. And then we also work with transparency, because we want people to really see everything as it is going on. On our platform, you will be able to see the history, or how verified a user is before you make decisions whether to trade with them or not, right? So even for every other feature that we put out for our security, we have multi-layered authentication, right? And there are volumes that you might not be allowed to transact given the level of authentication we have with you.
Available to you. Now, we heard of one or two big firms that were hacked. Now, and that is one thing that the blockchain has always rode on, that it's hard to hack into it, to penetrate and all that. Exactly. But it happened. It happened. That means that it does happen, right? It can happen. That means it can be hacked into. You know, generally, how do people secure themselves against those kind of scenarios?
Okay.
In a scenario like that, where there's a hack or something.
Exactly. The thing is this: I think security is everybody's responsibility, and
Personal responsibility, not the firm.
I'm going to say
Okay,
this,
all
both
right.
for the platform or the exchange you're using, and you as a trader,
Okay.
investor. So there are certain mistakes that even traders make. You know, not doing their due diligence or understanding how to decide what exchanges are reputable, right?
Okay.
You should be able to know the legitimacy, how compliant they are to regulations. You should be able to have seen how they run their operation and the security measures involved. So how do they store their assets and how are they even insured? So you do your research on your own end, and then for a platform or even an exchange, you should be able to employ state-of-the-art security, cybersecurity measures.
Cybersecurity measures, exactly. That's, I think this month is cybersecurity month, by the way, cybersecurity awareness month and all of that. Talking about it generally, now that is something that I know some people outsource it. When it comes to some firms outsource security and all of that, cybersecurity and all of that.
Exactly.
But just let's talk about cybersecurity for an individual. How important is it for you to know and understand cybersecurity measures and actually implement them? How important is it for individuals generally now?
I think it's very paramount to say, because as simple as not putting out your personal details, like for instance in cryptocurrency, your wallet ID, your transaction IDs, your wallet address, some of those things, you do not put them out in public space. And
okay, but your wallet ID is what you use to receive funds, right?
Exactly.
So it's almost like when people go on post and because of giveaway and put out their account numbers and all of that. So it's something like that. So those kind of things are not they're not the best practices.
Yes, exactly. You're almost shooting yourself in the foot, you know. And another thing is that something as simple as using a public Wi-Fi. You know, using public Wi-Fi to access your crypto account.
Your accounts.
Exactly, can be very, very.
So it's, you know, like I was saying, this is something I can even put, using the public Wi-Fi to access your bank details. In fact, your app or whatever, as it were. So apart from your crypto apps, your financial apps and all of that, you open yourself to a risk of being
a whole lot of risk, actually. And even for phishing, you know. So before you click on a link, before you want to respond to an email, verify the URL.
Please, when you say phishing now, some people think it's hook and net. Please explain that when you say phishing now.
So phishing is basically these hackers or fraudulent people trying to imitate legitimate businesses or brands,
and send mails.
Send mails or put out messages. On my way to this place today, I heard that either the AU was hacked with artificial intelligence, and video calls were sent out to leaders in European nations, you know. So things like that to imitate or impersonate a legitimate entity. So before you click anything, whether on your WhatsApp or your email to say, maybe verify we are this platform, look out for the URL and ensure that whatever you are clicking on is legitimate already.
Legitimate.
Exactly.
That would be a whole other discussion. I wish sometimes we can talk about cybersecurity some other time. Exactly. But it's been a pleasure having you on the show.
Thank you so
very
much.
much.
I'm grateful.
Right. Okay. All right. Let's head over to the birthday goddess, who's set now with that one is not birthday food. I told you small chops. I hope you're getting it set. How's it going there, man?